Hello, everybody. This is Michael McAvoy with AquaChiefFootbath.com, and we are having our fireside chat tonight with a couple of our practitioners. I'll introduce them in just a moment, but I'll just say that as we normally do, when you join, you'll have a video window, and you can see we have our fireplace up there right now. You'll have, and to the right, you'll have a place where there's a chat, and you can. There may be like a little um, tabs at the top, and so you just click on chat, and as you're joining, go into the little place where you can type in for the chat, and just put in, say, your first name and I'm here or something like that, so that I can see as people are joining. I'm not sure how many we'll have here, but it's just going to be a way for you to ask a question or to make a comment. So I'm going to put a little thing here, ask a question or make a comment. All right, we'll put that little notice up there. Tell us you're here. Okay, so I've just put a couple of things in the chat there. So we can go ahead and get started. So the whole purpose, hi Diane, how you doing? Thanks for joining. And anybody else who comes in, I'll just kind of say, hey, welcome, just so that we have that kind of cozy warmness by the fireplace. So anyway, so the idea of tonight was to get a couple of longtime practitioners who have been using the Aqua Chief for many years, and between them they have thousands of baths, maybe over 10,000. I'm not sure of the number, but it's a lot. So, and the idea is to just learn some things, because obviously if you've given that many baths, you do see some patterns and you understand how it works for certain people, and maybe for the bulk of people, what you can see. A lot of different practitioners will have different experiences because they see different clients. So having two people here is going to give us a little more than if we had one, so I think it's a balanced approach. So joining me tonight is Christy Haggerty from Montana and Lucia Hammer from Denver. So first I'll say welcome, Christy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Michael.
And Lucia, same to you.
Yes, thanks for inviting me, Michael.
All right.
Pleasure.
So let's start, and I'll start with you, Lucia. Just say a little about your practice and how long you've been doing it, and where the Aqua Chief fits in with other things that you're doing too.
Okay, about 8 years ago, I was having trouble with my gallbladder, and I was going to steam baths, and a gal there was doing baths, foot baths. And so I went through the series on my own, and at the time I was working for Curbs, which is an exercise program, and it really helped me, and I did lose a lot of my gallbladder problems. So I talked to the owner of Curbs and said, there's so many women that come there to work out that I thought it would be a good thing if we brought it there. And so we had the practitioners come from the steam baths to Curbs, and they started a program there and then had to leave. So I then was asked to do foot detoxification or cleansing. And when I first started out, I was like, I had all the wrong machines. Not until Diane DeVries, a friend of mine who was also a healer, helped me find the Aqua Chief machine, did I really begin to start to learn lots about foot detoxification. I worked with a woman who has a spa in Martha's Vineyard. She's a nurse, and she and I talked a lot, first of all, about detoxification and what it meant. But also the component to AquaChi was the other side of it is the re-energizing of the cells. So there was just a lot to learn about the equipment, about keeping the equipment up. And I started off right away seeing on a Saturday alone 25 clients in a day. So I really jumped into this with all 4 feet.
Wow.
But I have learned so much through the years. And the first thing that I really want to tell people is to have the right equipment, because it makes a whole great deal of difference. And the AquaChi for me, and I went through two different machines before I got to AquaChi. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say. And I'll let Christy now give her background, and then and if there's any questions, or we can talk some more about some of the benefits and what I've learned and seen over the years, and had the opportunity to even call Michael about and ask questions when I've seen something.
Well,
so go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Christy, go ahead. Share a little about yourself.
So I have been doing AquaChi a little over 8 years, and I originally just bought the machine for my personal use. I didn't intend it to become a business. I, interestingly, too, was having gallbladder challenges, and I also have systemic lupus, and have done a lot of alternatives through the years just to help counteract some of the side effects from the medications I'm on. So I bought a machine just for my personal use, and then a few weeks later a friend of mine owns a spa hair salon in town, and she talked me into coming in and offering it to her clients. And so I was there for about 4.5 years. And then a healing arts center in Missoula opened up, and I've been there a little over 3.5, almost 4 years at the Healing Arts Center. And for me, it dramatically changed arthritic challenges that I had and sleep issues. I had struggled with sleep for many years, where I would wake up 5 or 6 times in the night and have a tough time going back to sleep. And just after 2 or 3 weeks of consistently doing the foot baths, I found I was sleeping the whole night, and my alarm was actually waking me up in the morning. So that is the biggest thing that has helped me with my lupus challenges and my chronic health issues, is getting a good night's sleep has been a great foundation.
Okay. I was going to ask, are you, either of you, using other modalities in your practice in conjunction with the AquaChi?
Yes, I am. I have a Reiki therapist who comes with me, and when people are on the machine, we do a Reiki treatment on them. And also I have a reflexologist who comes and works, has a room right next to me, and she does reflexology on any of those people who want that. So I have 2 different practitioners.
Okay. How about you, Christy?
Yeah, I'm in the Red Willow Center for Health and Healing, and there are 14 other practitioners. We don't work on clients at the same time, but I often have somebody see Tana for craniosacral therapy and then come see me afterwards, or see the massage therapist. We also have Reiki. We have biofeedback and body talk and a chiropractor, and so we do a lot of collaborative work. And typically we'll do the foot bath after they have a session with somebody else. So.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start asking you about your personal experiences with how the AquaChi helped you. So before I do that, I want to make a disclaimer for everybody who's watching or listening, and that is that what people are sharing are their experiences with the AquaChi, and that goes for sharing the ideas about what's happened with clients and this kind of thing. But this is not you, right? So everybody is individual, and you know, frankly, we're not allowed to present the AquaChi as a magic pill, or you know, that it's going to heal you, although it's provided benefit for many thousands of people. I just say that because you know, I'm obligated to tell you to go see your doctor for anything regarding your health. So, having said that, I'll ask Christy first. How did it work out? You said you used it personally, and what did you find when you used the Aqua?
Personally, for me, like I said, it really decreased all arthritic issues that I had in my hands and my feet. It helped me sleep, and I also it decreased some yeast issues that I've had in my body. As far as my clients that come see me, people have had results in a wide range of health issues. A lot of people that come see me have arthritic issues. It's been helpful. People have reported to me that it's been helpful for them with kidney bladder issues, bladder control incontinence challenges. I have quite a few people with fibromyalgia. I see people with all different kinds of leg and foot issues, plantar fasciitis, skin splints. I've had it help people with sinus allergies. Quite a few people come in with a headache. They leave without a headache. And recently, well, I guess it's probably been 3 years now, I've been seeing a lot of athletic injuries, from hand injuries, foot injuries, ankles, calves, knees, and it really seems to speed up the healing process for people with athletic injuries. So I've seen a wide variety. I have people who chemo that come and see me. A lot of them report that it really helps them sleep and also gives them a lot of pain relief. So I could go on and on about individual people and results that people have had, but overall it seems to be really helpful for a wide variety of things because it helps at the cellular level. It enables our body to just kind of naturally heal those areas that we're having challenges with. So,
Okay.
Lisa, I'll let you.
Yeah, let me follow up on that a little. I want to first, one of the things that I wanted to try to explore is to just get an understanding for the common things that you see across many clients. In other words, it's not like the rare disease that it helps or that. I'm kind of like looking for the average, I guess, is what like I just see it seems to help people that have arthritis. I've heard that many times. But I'll ask, and this is for everybody in the chat. You can, if you're a practitioner, type in the top 3 things that you see kind of over and over again that it seems to help with. Okay, and while people are doing that, I'll ask Christy to follow up. Just when you started, you said that you had help with your arthritic condition. Did you have that for a long time, and how long did it take before you felt the difference?
I've had systemic lupus for 26 years, and I've been doing the Aqua for about 8. So I had lupus for say 18 years prior to, and I had arthritic issues that whole time. I noticed a difference after the first foot bath that I did. Unfortunately, the relief didn't last that long after just one session, and I find that with a lot of my clients that most of them, I'd say 99% of them feel a change after one session. Unfortunately, usually within a day or so, it kind of comes back. But typically, I have them do a series of sit baths, and we usually just spread them out one a week. And usually, the cumulative effect of doing those series, then the relief will last longer. So often, I'll have them do it weekly for a month or 2 months, and then we will step it back to once every other week and see if it's still maintaining that relief that they were feeling by doing it every week. So that's kind of, sometimes they have to go back to do it week after week, but we're usually able to spread it out after they have that cumulative effect. So.
Okay, great. So Lucia, over to you. Talk about you. I think you said you also had gotten it for personal reasons, but correct me if I'm wrong. And what was your experience? What were you dealing with, and how long did it take before you had some change?
Well, I had terrible gallbladder pain. I really didn't know what it was stemming from, and I've always had a high acid system, and so when the gal came with this particular machine and told us all the things that it did, I thought, well, I'd like to try it and see what would happen. And I did it once a week. She said it takes like between 9 and 14 times to sort of clean out your body. And she was approaching it from getting the toxins out of your body at that time, and a nutritional program as well. And it took me about 21 times for my water to begin to even look like it was, had a halo and I was clean. And I began to notice about the 14th treatment that I began to feel better, and I haven't had the pain since. But I see the same kind of, when Christy was talking about the arthritis, I get the same reports about people about their joints, because that's a big thing that people come to me for, is their joints. And in my practice now, it's more like I'm working with people rather than cleaning out myself as much. It's like the hairdresser who never does their own hair. I'm always working on someone else. And what I am really working a lot with is people who have low energy levels, and also cancer patients, that this deep cleansing really, really helps cancer patients with their quality of life. Even though they're on chemo, we seem to schedule it after about the 3 or 4 days after their treatment. And I've seen a lot of people who have had, I see all what Chrissy was talking about, but also in depth I see people who have dealt with having to cope with things, the stress in this world, and anger, and getting colds and sore throats all the time, and having coughs. And that this is really, they'll tell me, I haven't had a cold since I started detoxing. I haven't had a sinus infection since I started doing this. A lot of times people don't talk about this, but their bowels seem to be more natural, and that they don't seem to have as much constipation. And it's something that that you don't really always talk about, but people will tell me after they've had a treatment that that's a better situation for them. Also, I find that it is a time to teach people. You can change people's lives with this. You can impact the quality of their lives. We see a lot of metal. I see a lot of metal in the water. I see a lot of copper color, which is what I consider cleaning out the blood. And I use that little that little chart that you gave us about what the cells look like before and what the cells look like after. And people really are interested in this because I watched a television program, and it seems like answers come to me when I need them, either from Michael or from a television program or from something I read about what I'm seeing in the water as I go along. But there was a program on Discovery that talked about how much toxicity there is in the world right now. And 5%, in every single person in the world right now, 5%, there is 5% of metal from Chernobyl and radiation. And from 9/11, because the impact of the planes, when they hit the buildings, it's the second highest radiation that we have, or toxic level, is when the planes hit the building, they imploded. They thought that they, had bombs in them, but they didn't. They imploded, and all of the toxins in the plane came down through the buildings, and the buildings imploded. And all of those toxins came down and mixed with the toxins from the emergency vehicles. And when the toxins went out into the universe, they went out at the lower level rather than when that radiation and metals and everything are at a higher level. And so that's why so many people in New York are dying of cancer.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
sure.
The third was...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, the third most worst event was not 4 Mile Island. It was the latest in Japan. When that radiation, when they had that explosion, they found radiation levels in Providence, Rhode Island, and Las Vegas, Nevada, within 2 weeks. So when I see people cleaning out their waters, and I know many of my clients have been coming to me since I started, there's a piece of me, a part of me that's really hoping that we have cleaned out those cells because gotten out so much of that radiation. And I think that we don't realize how much of a quality of life we give people. We don't cure anything, but we sure make people feel better.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important that, and it's something that's natural. And so we never make, this great statement, we're going to cure cancer. But I have had 5 of my clients who came to me and had cancer 3 times. And now, since they've been coming to me, they have not had a reoccurrence. And I also work with someone who works with young oils, and I use the essential oils as well when I'm working with people. I actually just use it on the bottom of their feet. And I think that we're not only looking at foot cleansing and body cleansing, we're looking at any way that we can to help people find a quality of life where they can cope and that they don't have to be angry and that they don't have to be sick. So for me, it's a little different because it's a real ministry for me, and it's not just a business line. And I think for all of us as practitioners, we really look at it that way, that it's a much higher level of healing, and it's really important for us to be able to say that.
Right. Okay. Let me ask both of you, Christy first. What I'm trying to get an understanding of is when someone sees you, they might ask something like, "Okay, I've got arthritis in my knees. Can this help me?" And based on people you've seen, does it happen right away? How many sessions, would you do before you expect to see something? Just trying to get a baseline for the average, what would you tell someone if they said they have an arthritic condition, and how long would it take? You can't make any guarantees, but based on seeing hundreds of people, is there an average number of baths before you see some cumulative benefit? Christy?
I tell people typically, first of all, it's different for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody, but I offer a package of 5, and so typically I will tell people they're going to kind of get a good feel, and my experience is that they'll usually know by the end of those 5 sessions what it's doing for them. I also tell them if they do them closer together rather than 1 week apart, they're going to see a quicker benefit. So some people do it twice a week. But there's no magic number. Some people, they really feel dramatically different after 3. Some people, it takes more than 5. Sometimes they start out doing it for arthritis, and then they find, it really helps this ache that I had in this other part of my body, or I'm sleeping better. And so often they will continue because they are feeling these other benefits in their body as well. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. How about you, Lucia?
I usually see it right after the first bath. They'll say, "Oh, I can walk better." Now, I always, and I hear this too, that after a couple of days they're right back to the pain again. Until about the 7th treatment, and then they begin the 6th and 7th treatment. They begin to say that they feel better for a longer period of time. So I think, like Christy said, it really varies. Now, I'm not one that says, come every week. I really have my people come like once a month. So I think we're all different in how we approach it. Now, I have some cancer patients who have come every week. I can't even get them to change They feel better. They want to come every week. I have people who want to come every 2 weeks. So it's I just have to echo Christy and say it really varies. And then they begin to find different things that make them feel better. Like they'll tell me their gums feel better. They'll tell me that the dentist says that they don't have as much plaque. So I get all kinds of report, and it could be, I think where I see the biggest and most significant changes in anyone who comes is in the fourth and fifth sessions. That's when they begin to tell me, I just feel better. I just feel like I have a sense of well-being, that things are going well for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't seem to react to things like I used to. And not really talking all the time about the physical issues that they have.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about how they're coping with them. And I think that's pretty significant.
That is the observation you made about the mental health of people is very good observation because, people they come because of a physical ailment usually, but if you're able to tell I even observe as a practitioner how your client looks, how they're holding themselves over a series of sessions, that I think that's a pretty insightful thing that you said there. Yeah. So
well, they can see their own complexion changes. Their color is better. The whites of their eyes are whiter. I mean, there are some really significant things that we see that change over the period of time. And I don't know whether you see that or not, Chrissy, but I see that all the time.
Yeah.
I do see that. I do see the mental aspect of it too. Often, just after one session, people just will say, "Oh, I feel at peace. I feel so much more calm." And I also have clinical psychologists at the Red Willow where I'm at, and we work side by side with people with anxiety. And it really seems to pair well with working with the counselors, and it seems to be a double whammy, and the anxiety seems to be relieved typically quicker than if they're just seeing the counselor. So.
Lucia, you said earlier that you do see cancer patients, and you mentioned about quality of life. What did you mean by that? What do you see? What did your clients report?
Well, most cancer patients are under some kind of treatment, like chemo, radiation, and they're worn out, they're tired, they're depressed, they're angry. So it runs the gamut of what they're going through. And when they come in detox, they just seem to have, they feel better, they have more energy. Also, their tests come back when oftentimes, and I'm very hesitant to say that this has anything to do with the foot cleansing, but I think it works hand in hand with whatever medical treatment that they're getting, that their tests are better and that they seem to have a quicker recovery. And many, I know of 3 or 4 of my clients who were told, that they probably wouldn't be able to chew food again, and they probably would not get better, and they did. They're able to eat, they're able to chew, and these are people who came, I had them on a program of every week or every 2 weeks. And so it really played a significant part, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do and have the kind of life that they had, and also the kind of hope that they have that they were going to get better, and they did get better. And it, for me, I call them my miracle patients, and we've actually celebrated by having dinner together, every year that goes by that they don't have any more. Their tests don't show that they have any more cancer. So who knows, you really can't say, but I do know in what I have seen over the years, that it does have a significant impact on cleaning out those cells, and especially the cells that have, and also what I see is when I see the lymph cleaning out of people, you know, every one of us has cancer cells in us. Well, if you're cleaning out your cells, you're getting rid of cancer cells. And if you're not in stress, you're really minimizing the fact that you could get cancer. So you have to be able to look at anything that there is in this world to help prevent or to help to keep you from getting into such a stressful place that you do get cancer. And it's just one of the benefits of having a program like this.
Right.
People do all kinds of things to detox their body. But also, the other side of this is, if you are detoxing, you are also re-energizing. And as we know, this gets rid of the old cells and opens up the new healthy cells that have been crushed behind it. So it's very important that we teach people that, you know, that they're bringing back new cells in their body, and we live on a cellular basis.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I meant by that.
Right.
It changes the quality of life. I hope that answers you.
Yes, it did. That's really kind of the base or core of what the Aqua does with regards to the cellular. It impacts the cells in the body, so that they can carry out their function more efficiently.
Right.
Right. Any kind of disease is always the precursor to any disease is that the cells are not carrying out their function, and that is the beginning. Right. It's almost like a clogged drain. You know, it's the beginning of trouble when you cannot function at a normal level. So had a question. I think you mentioned, Lucia, that you use essential oils, and the question came, what essential oils does she use? So maybe you could answer that.
The Be Young oils.
Okay. Is there
Have
any?
you heard of those? Yeah.
Any particular?
Yeah. Those are the only ones I use, and I cleanse the feet afterwards, and I use my own soap mixture, and I use Listerine in it, and I also put essential oils in it. So when people are finished with the bath, I pour water over them, then I pour this soap mixture over them, and then I do some healing touch as well.
Okay. I just wanted to say, Deborah had mentioned that she works with people and that she sees kind of across 3 areas: gout, fatigue, and improved oxygen, you know, are 3 of the areas that she sees on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I guess gout is a pain condition. I'm not really familiar too much with it, but I think it's a painful condition, and that people find relief with it. Have either of you had experience with that? Christy?
Yes, a lot of experience with it, yeah. I'm a nurse as well, so I've seen what it does, and I'm not sure whether Christy sees this, but people will come in and their toe will be inflamed, or their foot will be inflamed with the gout, and they have it in other places. And what the detoxing does is give them relief from that pain, but it does not get rid of the gout.
Okay.
There has to be medications involved, and it doesn't do it in one session. It takes a few sessions to really make an impact as far as the foot cleansing goes. I don't know if that's your experience, Chrissy.
It is, and I've kind of had a tough time with gout. It's about a 50-50 for me. Half the people that I see, they really get a lot of relief, and then the other half don't necessarily feel as much relief. Sometimes it's made it worse, but I try to tell people sometimes it does get worse before it gets better, just as it's working its way through your system. I've had that with arthritis too. Sometimes the day after they do the session, they find that they're in more pain, but then then the next 3 days they've felt better than they have in, months. And so, so with the gout, I haven't had as much success as I have with some of the other health issues.
Okay, I wanted to, before I forget, just mention on Lucia's point that if you had not heard the call, we did a call a couple of months ago. It's the Aqua research update. We talked about cancer studies that are going on at the University of Tennessee with the Aqua, and there's some very promising things happening. And I mentioned that only because as practitioners, you're both talking about that you do work with people who have cancer, and that it's a quality of life thing, and they might feel better, but you're not exactly sure, what the mechanism is necessarily. And I just say that this research going on, if it proves out and goes into further studies, then there may be actually on a cellular level, there may be some very real things happening, but it's still research at this point, and so, but very, very promising research. So let me just see, there might be a couple of questions here. Andres is asking, how much do you charge for your package or sessions? And Christy, you go first.
I don't charge very much. I charge $30 a session, or I offer a package of 4 for $100.
Mm-hmm.
My feeling is I really want people to be able to do as many sessions as possible. And then for my long-term people who come week after week after week, if they come more than 2 or 3 months, then they only pay $20 a session. And I'm constantly told I don't charge enough, but I just really want to make it affordable,
mm-hmm.
So that they can do many sessions and then in turn feel more benefit from it. So.
Okay. Lucia?
I only charge $22 a session, and I feel the same as Christy. I want people to be able to afford it. I know there are people out there who charge a lot more, and I don't offer any packages, but every once in a while on long-term clients, I just give them a freebie for their birthday.
Right.
Okay. Another question is, what's the status of the research? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if you had heard the update, but my understanding is that there was enough of a. It was actually pretty stark results that. I'll see if I can rephrase what Steve shared on that call. Basically, it is that there was the water treated with the Aqua was used in a petri dish with cancer cells. So first, you had cancer cells that were untreated. They did not have that water, and they found that there was a 2,000% increase in or the normal growth over a period of time. I think it was a week, was 2,000% in terms of the cancer cell growth. And then when it was put into the medium of the Aqua treated water, that was reduced by 90%. So, that's
mm-hmm.
pretty dramatic. And so,
mm-hmm.
my understanding of the status is that the woman who's doing the research, it's part of her doctorate, and that she's making attempts now to have it put into clinical trials with the National Institute of Health. That's all I know at this point, and it's a. I'm going to just make a personal comment that this woman is. She was probably she chose a subject that could have been controversial, obviously, because most times it's an alternative treatment in a world where drugs are the kind of staple of the American health diet, if you will. So I think it's a good thing, and I hope that they take it slow, because I don't it's not it's not a good thing to ram a alternative therapy down into the people, the AMA and other organizations that by and large are dealing with drug treatments mostly, But anyway, so when there's an update, we will I will definitely share it with you. Let's see, what else do we have here? Do they use filtered water or just tap water? Christy?
I just use tap water.
Okay. How about?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I just use the tap water. At the Red Willow where I work, we don't have a filter, and so we drink filtered water out of a pitcher. But for the foot baths, I just use regular tap water.
Okay, Lucia?
Just tap water.
Okay. Yeah. My understanding is with tap water it's the medium that is carrying out the bath. It's not so important which kind of water you're using, because it's just the medium for the treatment to take place in. A couple of comments. Melody says, I did last week. I'm thinking you might have seen a client or that it was you. My boyfriend has trouble with gout and he has so much pain. One treatment and he had an amazing amount of relief. So that's a positive thing there. Cheryl, pain of gout relieved and cholesterol level dropped. I use a mixture of tea tree oil, lavender oil, in water to clean the feet after the bath with a light foot massage with lotion. That sounds nice. Could I have one of those, Cheryl? That'd be nice. Betsy asks, is the research call that I was referring to recorded? Yes. If you go onto YouTube, search Aqua Research Update, and you'll find that. Melody made a nice comment. It was about when Lucia was sharing about quality of life, and it's a holistic picture. She says it's finding the delicate balance in life. Thank you, Melody. Let's see if there's anything else here. Diana says, what are your thoughts on folks who have amalgam fillings? Do you recommend they get them removed before starting the Aqua foot baths? I'll just make a comment that I think, in my personal experience, I've had them removed many years ago, and it made a difference for me. I think that there's a lot of data that says that these do have toxicity in them, and that every time you chew on something, you're releasing a gas into your system that is toxic. So if you can have them removed before you do the Aqua, that's great, because I do think that as a part of the detoxification, that they're going to be acted upon too. But I'll let Christy and Lucia weigh in. Christy?
I don't make any recommendations like that since I don't have any initials behind my name.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have people often when they have a lot of amalgams or metal fillings in their mouth, they will really, as they're doing the foot bath, they get a really strong metally taste in their mouth. And I had one gal who had a whole mouthful of amalgams, and after doing the foot bath for 2 days, every time she blew her nose, she had the little black flecks coming out in her tissues. So, but I personally have had all of mine removed years ago,
mm-hmm.
but I don't feel like I'm in a place where I can recommend that to people. So.
Okay, that's a good answer. Lucia?
Yeah, I don't make any recommendations that way. If I see a lot of metal in the water, I might say, it could be from fillings in your teeth. And I always say, check with your dentist and have him look at your fillings, because a lot of people don't know whether they have amalgam fillings or not.
Right.
And what the Aqua does is it does remove metal in your body, no matter where it is. So I just would refer them to the dentist, and the dentist can make a recommendation, because that's quite an expensive ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of it is, though, that people do feel so much better when they are removed. But I don't say anything either way unless they say, "Do you think I ought to see my dentist?"
Yes.
And I have had people say to me that they've gone to the dentist, and the dentist said they need to have their gums worked on and have the deep scaling. And after 3 months of detoxing, they've gone back to the dentist to make an appointment to get this done. And the dentist said, "Well, I don't know what you're doing here, but your gums are so much better." So we do know for sure that not only does this work on the metal, it also works on that tissue around the teeth.
Wow. Okay. Felicity's asking. It seems like she's had one client who had some reactions. She says depression, anxiety, flu symptoms, muscle pains, severe itching lasting up to 3 days. Have you had any clients that have had anything like that?
Was the water hot when they did the... I've had people who, if the water has been too hot and they have sensitive feet, they've had some itching, but I haven't had any. No, I haven't had any anyone say to me that their feet were itching.
Right. Okay. My take is that some people are going to have sensitivity, and that if something like that happens, like severe itching or something like that, I think that the best thing to do is to just wait, and you can wait a week or a little more, and try another bath. If the same thing happens again, then what I would say is, maybe this treatment isn't for you, and it's because, like Lucia said, some people just have sensitivity in the skin, and it's okay. Other times you can actually lower the intensity level of the bath, and that will make a difference too. What have you found, Christy?
I have done that. I have had some people, not necessarily itchiness, but like it was uncomfortable for them to have their feet in the water, and so I have lowered the amps, and that does seem to make a difference. So, but I haven't experienced anybody with any kind of itchiness, after doing the bath. So.
Okay, it's pretty rare. I've taken many calls over the years, and that is pretty rare. That when somebody has a reaction, and it can be a combination of things that are going on with that person. We just don't know the individual situations. Could be that they're on some sort of drug, and that they have reactions within the system that they think maybe that is connected to the bath. I don't know. So not enough data to know for sure. Let's see if there's anything else. Felicity, yeah, it's just comfortably. She says the water's just comfortably warm. So that's how I would advise. Comfortably warm is the thing to do. Warmer water tends to be more conducive for the bath. So cold water doesn't do as well as warm water. That's the point I'm making there. And sounds like that's what you do, Christy. Lucia, comfortably warm water. Is that how you do it?
I try to get it as warm as I can get it, because they're in there 30 minutes. So you want to make sure that it doesn't get cold on them. And usually I just have them test it before I have them stick a toe in there and see how, what they like. And some people with sensitive feet will say, I don't want it too hot, but I want it warm. So.
Right, okay.
Yep, I do the same. I get it as hot as they can stand it. I mean, not extremely hot, but everybody's tolerance of hot water is a little different. So, but I agree. If you just start it warm, then it is cold by the end of the bath, and I don't think that's very comfortable either. So.
Okay. Do you both use a particular setting or set it on the same setting for each person? And I'm talking about the meter, the amp meter reading. Is there any kind of average that you use, either of you? Lucia?
I just use the 250 because that's the normal pH balance, and I watch to see whether it goes back or it goes up to 3.0 or 3.5,
Mm-hmm.
I sit right there with them, and because I want to know when they are in a more alkaline state than they are acid.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually had people who tested their urine before and after I did AquaChi, because, you know, people sort of debunk the foot. There's a lot of debunking about how the foot detox doesn't change the balance of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people tell me, you know, that they've gone home and checked it, and they found that they're more alkaline than they were acid, and they were more acid when they came. So, you know, I think that's what we have to keep in mind, that this is really what we're trying to do here, as well as clean the cells, and it is to make sure that we're trying to help people stay in that alkaline state, because 96% of the world live in that positive charge state of acidity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's important for me to keep it right in the middle for the most part, because that seems to make the bath work better.
How about you, Christy?
I have always run it at 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I was on the phone call regarding the cancer research, it seemed like it was stated that you should run it between 2.5 to 3. And so I've kind of been running it somewhere in between that 2.5 to 3 for most people. And I don't know where I got this, but if I have a really large person, I do always run it higher at 3.
Okay.
If I have a small child, I run it lower at, not a small child, but, you know, 7 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
I will run it at between 1 to 1.5.
Right.
So that seems to work.
Mm-hmm.
You can correct me if I'm
that's
all
good.
wet on that. But
yeah, just what you said. That's good. Between 2 and 3 is what I tell people. 2.5 is the most prevalent setting, and you know, but sometimes in certain areas, the water, you know, doesn't conduct as well. So I'll say, you know, make sure that you're putting salt in for conductivity, and you can run the machine up to 3 without any problem. Let's see. Deborah's asking about pH balance. You know, Deborah, I'm not so sure that there's a direct correlation between the reading on the meter and pH balance, but I do think that if you did, they have pH testing strips and things like that, that you probably should just try it on yourself. You know, in other words, you could test your pH before and after a bath, and that's going to be the best way for you to get a baseline of your own, you know, condition and how the AquaChi interacts with it. So that would be my advice for you there. Let's see here. Another thing that's coming up here is about oxygen levels, that it does improve oxygen levels in the blood, and that's something that I've seen and also gotten from other practitioners, that, you know, before and after, if you measure the blood oxygen levels, that you will see an increase because of the interaction with the bath, and that's been replicated many times. So if you have people that have an oxygen deficiency, they can be helped with the AquaChi. I've had many calls over the years about people with asthmatic conditions or issues with breathing, or exertion, you know, trouble with exertion, having been helped with the AquaChi. Have either of you had experiences like that?
I've just had a lot of people who come in with colds and say I'm having trouble breathing. When they leave, they say, "Oh, my chest feels so much better and I can breathe better."
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't done any testing, like with a pulse oximeter or anything like that,
Yes.
So I can only go on what they tell me on how they feel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Christy?
Yeah, I haven't done any oximeter testing myself either. You know, I do have a lot of my clients swear that they haven't had a cold in 2 years since they've been doing the foot baths and that kind of thing. But I haven't really had anybody come in, with difficulty breathing and then leave, breathing clear. I haven't noticed that anyway. So.
Okay. Lucia, you mentioned about reflexology, I think. Was that you?
Uh-huh.
The question is, do you like to use reflexology before or after the bath?
Before.
And what's your reasoning?
It just seems like they seem to drain more toxins out, and they just seem to feel better when they have the reflexology before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it opens up the pores.
Okay.
Because, they're working on the feet, and it opens up the pores, and also reflexology is like, help me here, what's the needle things? I can't,
acupuncture.
People have
acupuncture?
Acupuncture, yeah.
Okay.
It's like a form of acupuncture, and I hate needles, so probably that's why I'm spacing that out. But anyway, I also find people who have acupuncture the day before seem to really have a good detox. And a lot of times people will schedule to have acupuncture the day before or a massage before they come to detox. Because what that does is it raises up the level, as we all know, of toxins in the body, and then what they do is they dump it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Through the cells in the actual foot cleansing.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that would be my uneducated guess, but I know the women like it, and so.
Right. Okay. I'm getting follow-up questions about the oximeter. Okay. So this is a fairly reasonable cost if you wanted to get one. I'm going to go ahead and in the chat, I'm going to put a link to the bestseller on Amazon, and it's only about $25. So you can go ahead and click on that if you want to. So actually, you might have to copy it and put it into your browser because it doesn't look as if the whole link was showing up there. So just copy it, and you can take a look at that. It's really kind of a cool little thing you put on your finger. It'll measure the pulse, and it will also measure the percentage of oxygen in the blood. So if you do that before and after a session, it can be just a little bit of feedback, for the person taking the bath, or if you just want to kind of get a sense for oxygen levels of your clients, you can do that.
Yeah, you could pick one up at Walmart too.
Right. Yeah, they're pretty widely available. Let's see. Do you put other parts of the body in the machine other than the feet? So. How about you, Christy?
I do. Typically we will do the feet, but if I have people who have severe hand issues, I had a boxer come in who just kind of had mangled hands, and we did his feet. It's kind of a little tricky to do your hands. You have to put the bucket on your lap, or it's not as comfortable. Yeah. So a lot of my elderly clients who have arthritic issues, it's just not conducive for their body structure to do their hands. We do their feet, and they still feel the same benefit in their hands. So.
Lucia?
Yeah, I totally agree. I have tried the hands. It's just awkward, and it just works out better to do it with the feet.
Yeah.
You can do. Some people have used, their whole body. They put the module in a tub.
Yes.
But I've never done that with anybody.
Right. It's good, particularly for home users. That works well.
Yeah.
Not easy if you're giving sessions.
Yeah. But no, it's just not my thing. Feet seems to work the best, and also, you have this whole physical visual thing when they're doing their hands. I don't know about you, Christy, but they look at the water and go, oh my gosh. It's bad enough when they look at their feet and take pictures and send it to their friends, but with their hands it just seems to be worse.
It's much closer to their faces, and I do find that when I do their hands, interestingly, it seems to be a lot thicker, whether that is the lymphatic I don't know, but it seems to be really, really thicker when we do their hands, whether that's from all the lymph nodes in our upper body, I'm not sure, but and it's not as comfortable to do your hands. Inevitably, you'll get an itch, and they can't scratch their face. So, you know, the feet are just all around easier.
Right, and it does tend to work just as well because, you know, remember that the blood is circulating through the body at something like 90 miles an hour or something like that. It's, you know, there's a lot of circulation of the blood cells taking place during the bath. So your whole body is being treated. The oxygen effect is, you know, because the whole thing is the lungs are what are carrying the oxygen to the blood cells, and if you're circulating rejuvenated cells, they're going to suck up that oxygen. I think that's why you get an increase in that oxygen level in the blood. So anyway, I think we're at the top of the hour. We've been on for an hour now, and I think it's probably a good time for us to end the fireside chat. We'll probably do it again, but I'm not sure. It's kind of like a first attempt at it. So anyway, I want to thank both Christy and Lucia for sharing your wisdom and your experience with the Aqua Chi. And you know, if anybody has any follow-up questions, please email them. You can email them to clientsupport@aquachifootbath.com, and maybe even if you have something for one of our guests, I'd be glad to forward it too. So with that, I'd like to thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for inviting.
I hope it was helpful.
All right. Great. Everybody have a great evening. Thanks for joining us tonight.